On your anniversary, bring your wife here, she'll surely love it. That's what my mother said in my memory. I've carried them in my heart all these years. Hey, Bobby, how's the concrete? Yeah, I'm on it. My name's Bobby, turning 35 this year. Been working in construction for a good while now. Man, it's hot today. I took a moment, looking up at the sky. I met my wife, Kate, on a day just as hot. It's been a bit over 10 years since I met her as a newbie. Has it really been that long? Perhaps now's the perfect time to take her to that fancy diner I remember. The restaurant that I remember with my mother is a cherished place that will always be in my memory. When I was 10, my dad, whom I loved dearly, passed away from terminal cancer. His sudden absence hit me hard back then. How about we go somewhere nice? One day, Mom suggested and took me to a French restaurant. It had a solemn atmosphere with counter seats. Mom, we're eating here. It was my first time in such a place, so I asked her, a bit nervously. This is where your dad proposed to me. Wow, so it's a special place for you and Dad. Yes, honey. Today marks our 10th wedding anniversary, that's why we're here. She smiled warmly. Afterward, while eating the many delicious dishes that came out, I asked her about her memories of my father, and we talked about many things, which made me feel happy for the first time in a long time. When you have your anniversaries, bring your future wife here, she'll surely appreciate it. On our way home, Mom shared those words. The mention of a future wife made me blush, but her words stuck with me, even as I grew up. Many years have passed since then, and before I realized it, we're celebrating our 10th wedding anniversary. I want to visit that place with my wife, Kate. Kate prefers Italian cuisine, but would she enjoy a French meal? No, I'm sure she'll be fine. No one could resist those dishes. Hey, Bobby, quit daydreaming, you're slacking. Sorry, I snapped back to reality and resumed my work. 10 years ago, while working just like this, Kate approached me. Excuse me, are you the guy from back then? She suddenly asked. Who are you? Oh, I'm sorry, I mistook you for someone else. You looked like someone I knew, but it's a memory from when I was little, so please don't mind it. What do you mean? Well, actually, for some reason, I became curious and wanted to know more. It turns out the man was someone who had done a huge favor for Kate when she was younger. I called out to you because you looked so familiar, she said, looking embarrassed. This chance encounter led us to exchange contact info, and a few months later, we started dating and eventually got married. However, Kate never told me what exactly happened between her and that man back in the day. She said it was a precious memory and that she couldn't share the story. I was curious, but I figured it would be weird to press her about it now. She'll probably tell me someday. For now, I needed to focus on preparing for our anniversary. A fancy restaurant, is it really that good? It's amazing. My mom took me there once, and I haven't found a place that can compare. If your mother-in-law says it's good, I bet it's a fantastic place. I'm looking forward to it. So, you'll come with me. Of course, if you recommend it that highly. I'm excited. It's sure to give us wonderful memories. Seeing Kate's happy face filled me with anticipation. Truth be told, my mother passed away before Kate and I got married. But I'm sure she's celebrating our anniversary up in heaven. I couldn't help but smile, imagining her joyful face. On the day of our anniversary. Hey Kate, I'm sorry. The meeting with the client ran late. It's okay, I'll wait for you here. I didn't have time to go back to the office after the meeting, so I rushed straight to the restaurant. I had planned to dress up in a nice suit for our special day, but it didn't work out. Upon arriving at the reserved restaurant, I approached the hostess. Excuse me, I had a reservation under the name Bobby. Welcome, but the hostess, who had greeted him with a smile, furrowed her brows. Excuse me, but what are you wearing? Is there something wrong with what I'm wearing? Well, are you wearing work clothes? I was taken aback by her unexpected remark. Yes, it's my work attire, but it's for sales, not construction, so it's clean. Excuse me. The hostess looked even more displeased. Is there a problem? She looked shocked. Certainly, it's work attire, but not for construction work, so it's clean. I don't recall getting such a displeased look. Sorry, but we don't have any tables available today. The hostess, with a stern expression, glared at us and said that. Wait a minute, what's the deal? We made a reservation. Kate confronted the hostess. Our restaurant is fully booked with wealthy clientele. The hostess retorted with just that statement. A glance to the side and I could see Kate trembling with anger. Taking a deep breath to calm herself. If it's okay for us to take this to the Customer Advisory Center, then by all means, kick us out. Your restaurant's reputation will plummet, you know. At Kate's assertive remark, the hostess looked taken aback. I understand. I'll consult with the owner. Reluctantly, she said and disappeared towards the entrance. What's with this place? I'm sorry, it wasn't like this when I visited years ago. I get it. The management changed and so did the vibe of the place. I felt a pang in my heart at my wife's words. Indeed, the current diner is managed by the previous owner's son. Ever since he took over, I heard the reputation wasn't good. Hearing stories of them being picky with customers and having a bad attitude, I thought they were just rumors. But I can't believe how openly rude they are to customers. Lost in thought, the hostess returned. It was an oversight on our part. We sincerely apologize. Please allow me to show you to your table. Huh? You said earlier there were no reservations available. What's up with that? Kate snapped at the hostess, who responded with a raised eyebrow. You want our food, right? Our restaurant is always fully booked. Follow me to your table. The hostess said, rather coldly. It reminded me of a grumpy but skilled old sushi chef I saw on TV. Maybe this place has a similar vibe. Kate, let's just sit for now. Holding back the rising anger, we followed the hostess to the counter. The interior hasn't changed much since I was a kid. However, the chef behind the counter looked clearly displeased. With a scowl, he began placing dishes in front of us. The food looked delicious. Yet, it didn't stimulate my appetite. What's wrong, not eating? Asked Kate. As I tasted the dish, it was certainly delicious, but there was a lingering odd sensation. What's this feeling? I thought as I continued eating. Suddenly, Kate spoke. How can you serve this to customers? Refrying beignet. What's with the hygiene standards of this place? What are you talking about? The chef's face contorted with irritation. Kate continued, glaring at him. The crispiness of the batter is clearly not fresh. It's been left out at room temperature for too long, right? It's lost its color and firm texture. At her observation, the chef's eyes widened. My wife, listening on the side, hasn't lost her sharp tongue, I thought, impressed. That's just your opinion. Where's your proof? Isn't it obvious just by looking at this dish? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll have our experienced journalists from our magazine come and secretly review your restaurant, and I'm sure they'll write an article that echoes my sentiments. An article? You can't be serious. Both the restaurant owner and the hostess turned pale in an instant. Little did they know, Kate was a food critic for a gourmet magazine. I came here today hoping to savor the nostalgic taste my husband always talked about, but both the service and the taste were a letdown. It's really disappointing, but I believe my husband is even more devastated than I am. Are you prepared for the backlash to your terrible service and food? With a cold stare at the restaurant staff, Kate put down her fork. Let's go. I'll cover the bill. If we stay here any longer, our wedding anniversary will turn into a disaster. I get it, but I brought you here. Let me pay. In that case, I'll take you up on your offer. We still have some dishes coming out. We'll eat elsewhere, thank you. After saying that to the hostess, Kate got up from her seat. I also stood up and headed toward the cashier. Wait, hold on. No need for change. I laid several $100 bills on the counter and left the restaurant. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. As soon as we were out, I apologized to Kate. I'm sorry for making you go through that. More importantly, are you okay? Must have been a shock to see your mother-in-law's favorite place like that. Oh, I have a place I want to take you. A place you want to take me. You'll surely create good memories there. Then she guided me to a small diner located near the other restaurant, where I was greeted by a familiar face. Welcome. Is that the guy from that time? Though he had aged, there were traces of resemblance on his face. It was the gentleman who served us dishes when my mother and I visited that diner. In other words, the previous owner of that restaurant. Kate whispered in my ear. He handed over the main restaurant to his son and continued his business here. Really, sir, the usual, please. Gotcha, young lady. You want the salmon platter, right? The former owner gave Kate a wide grin. Young lady, I felt a sense of déjà vu hearing Kate being addressed that way. I had encountered a similar scene in the past. Oh, that time. Did you finally remember? Kate's voice was full of excitement. I'm so glad you finally remembered. Turns out, there was more to the restaurant memory. At that place, while having a meal with my mother, a little girl was intently watching our food. She seemed to be alone, with no parents in sight. Wondering what was going on, I looked her way, and in a faint voice, she said, "Wow, that food looks so yummy." Apparently, she was dining in the only private room available with her father. However, they only ordered alcohol and snacks, so she was getting hungry. He only orders stuff like fries. Plus, he gets drunk and won't wake up, so I get really hungry. She spoke with tears just forming in her eyes, and I felt an urge to do something for her. You okay? Hungry? You can eat this. I offered her my plate, and she responded, "Really? Are you sure? Thank you so much." She eagerly started eating the stew and terrine. Afterwards, the previous owner, who had observed the interaction, treated her to a complimentary meal. I clearly remembered her happily eating the food. Why had I forgotten about it? No way, Kate. Was that you back then? I never forgot how kind you were to me. I recognized you right away when I saw you. That scar on your forehead, I could never forget. I had a large scar on my forehead from a bicycle accident when I was a kid. I was so happy to see you again, but you never noticed me. I decided to stay quiet until you remembered. That's why I never mentioned it. Seeing Kate's innocent laughter made my heart warm. I can't believe I married that girl from back then. I never thought I'd marry the kind man from that day. The meal at that restaurant was honestly terrible, but let's make it up here. Let's give you the best hospitality. The previous owner smiled warmly. Yes, please, I replied with a smile. After that, we enjoyed a delicious meal just as I remembered. Maybe because of the earlier unpleasant experience, it felt even more delightful. Who would have thought that boy from back then would grow up so well? The head chef seemed to remember the incident well. It feels like a dream to be eating the chef's food together again. Kate joyfully ate the dishes prepared by the previous owner. It felt so good, like I had finally fulfilled what my mother always said. Sorry for the unpleasant experience my sons caused you. My apologies. The chef bowed deeply. It's not your fault. Please, don't worry about it. Raising his head, the previous owner continued. Actually, I have a favor to ask. Ever since they took over the restaurant, they've become arrogant, even to regular customers. The reputation of the diner has plummeted. Can you help teach them a lesson? Is that really okay? Kate asked, looking slightly pleased. Yes, it's fine. I don't want the diner's reputation to get any worse. With your help, please do what you think is best. Understood, Kate answered with a beaming smile. I hope she doesn't go overboard. Seeing her smile gave me a bad feeling. A few weeks later, the diner received a scathing review in a gourmet magazine where Kate was in charge. Because of the prominent criticism, it seems the diner lost all its customers. Later, it seems the place was on the brink of shutting down but was acquired by someone else. Seeing a place with so many memories face such hardships is a bit bittersweet. I guess so, but the new owner seems to be a very nice person, and he is carrying on the taste of the original owner. I went there on business the other day, and the place looked so much better, it made me nostalgic. Nostalgic. It had the same vibe as the place where we first met. Hey, in a few years, should we take our child there too? That sounds nice, but with a little one, we might be a bother, maybe in about 10 years. I gently patted Kate's belly as I said this. Going to that restaurant might be a long way off, but the idea of taking our child to a place filled with so many cherished memories is something to look forward to. I wonder what kind of future we'll have built by then. With that thought, I gave a soft chuckle,